Hey guys, welcome back to Living with Fibro and PSA, Felicia and Frankie's Way, where real life, real faith, and real conversations meet. Can you guys believe that we are already on episode 25? I know, it's insane, isn't it? How are you guys? I hope you guys are all doing okay. I hope that you guys have had an amazing few weeks. I swear I feel like a superhero this last month because I have been over here fighting off a cold for almost 3 weeks. And for the last two, I have been battling this really nasty cough. All the coughing has taken my voice. God, no, seriously. And I am just now getting my voice back. So if I sound a little rough, that would be why. It has been a freaking week, let me tell you. But we're here, we're blessed, and we are grateful. Some lessons come from love, and others come from survival. Today, let's talk about some of the crazy and wild things that Felicia and Frankie have put us through. Disclaimer. Hey y'all, just a real quick check-in before we jump in. Everything I share here comes from my own personal experience with chronic illness, POTS, fibromyalgia, psoriatic arthritis, aka Felicia and Frankie. My very long-term, unwelcomed, uninvited guest. I am not a doctor, nurse, or a medical wizard, just a woman walking this road and telling it like it is. Nothing I share is meant to replace medical advice, so please always, always, always talk to your doctor or healthcare provider before changing anything with your treatments, meds, or care plan. This space is a community for real talk, faith, laughter, whatever all, tears, crying, laughter, we're here. I just want you guys to know you're not walking this alone. So I am here to share my journey, the messy, the ugly, and everything in between. When Frankie decides to show up, because it is a new year, I had to deal with another new prior authorization for my Cosentyx. I went to the doctor. She's like, "Yeah, we're going to keep you guys on that we're going to keep you on it for another 2 months. And then if everything, continues well, then we'll go from there. And if it doesn't, then um we'll change it." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. So here we are. That's what we ended on. That was in November. I got my first Cosentyx in December. I got my letter in the mail saying it was covered I think it was until the end of the summer of 2026. Yeah. And then I get a call from the pharmacy saying, "Oh no, we have to have a PA on that." And I'm like, "Lady, I literally just got my first set of shots last month. So I don't understand why we need a new PA already when I just had a PA done." Remember when I talked to you guys about all the insurance crap and how you got to jump through all them frickin' hoops and do all the hooly hoops and, oh gosh, all the bells and whistles, whatever. Anyway, so I said, "Okay." She said, "Well, it'll take a couple of weeks before, you might get it." And I'm like, "You're kidding me, right? You guys are kidding me, right?" So I don't know about you guys, but when you're due for your medicine, you do. You know what I mean? Like you are due. Especially when you're dealing with fibromyalgia, psoriatic arthritis, any kind of chronic illness. Yeah, for real. Felicia and Frankie are not something to play around with. Chronic illness is not anything to play with, especially when flares are right around that corner. They're constantly peeking around the corner. The best way to avoid those flares, oh, yeah, that's right, Take your medicine. Plain and simple. What do you do when you ain't got it? So I called the doctor's office and I'm like, hey, this is what's going down. We need a new PA. She's saying it's going to be a couple weeks. I'm due for my freaking shot Friday. And she's like, this Friday? And I'm like, yep. She's like, it was Wednesday. I didn't really think, anyway. She said, I'll call you back. I said, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, yep, ain't gonna hear nothing from her. She literally within the hour, sorry, she called me and she said, hey, I got samples. They're on hold for you. Which office are you going to? This one or that one? Both offices were an hour either way. So I was like, I'll go to this one. My brother was here and I'm like, hey, can you take me? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we ran over there. We grabbed him. I was in the office maybe freaking 5 minutes. 5 freaking minutes. Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That night, I told my husband and my brother, I said, my throat hurts. My brother's like, what? And my husband's like, And I'm like, my throat, it really hurts. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And they're like, well, you probably haven't drank enough. And I'm like, well, that's fair. I mean, I really am bad at that. So it's possible. So I chugged all night water, Mountain Dew, water, water, chugged all night. I wake up the next morning. Guess what? Same annoying sore throat. Nothing major. It was just this naggy sore throat, hard to swallow, hard to eat. I hate sore throats. They're just annoying. So I'm like, okay, if this is what it's going to be, then I can make do with this. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Friday comes, the day my shot's due. And I wake up sicker than a dog. I was so sick. And I'm like, oh, you got to be freaking kidding me. Yeah. I want to know who I pissed off because I need to make amends quickly. So, because you can't take a shot when you're sick. Can't do it. Nope. So here we are, almost 3 weeks later. I'm still sick. Yeah. But there's no fevers, thankfully. So it's just upper respiratory yuck that's left me with this really nasty cough. And it gets worse when I laugh or if I talk too much. Ironic because we're doing this podcast. So we're going to try. We're going to try to make it. But I didn't even get this cough until like a week ago. So steam baths, Robitussin, Vicks, you name it. Felicia and Frankie were like, oh, you thought you had this in control, did you? Yeah, okay. Whatever. Punks. Why I keep going. Family, grief, and purpose. Yesterday was my oldest grandson's birthday. He turned 4. I don't know where time goes. I really don't. It just disappears. You know what I mean? That baby came to us exactly at the right time. He was truly a God's gift. We had just lost my father-in-law. We had lost the kids' dad, my kids' dad. And then, 2 months later, the baby was born. And then 5 months later, my mom died. And she never got to see him in person. She seen him on the phone or, she was always sick. She never got a chance to meet him. So that sucked. But when she passed away, I mean, if you guys have been here for a while, y'all know it broke me. It really broke me. And I poured every ounce of love I had into that baby because I needed to. I needed to hang on to something that was alive and tangible. And that baby became Gigi's biggest blessing. And I have 3 grandbabies now. I have a number 4 on the way. And I truly believe that they're all, every one of them are gifts from God. They are gifts from our loved ones from above. And loving them makes the hurt feel a little lighter. And maybe that's how we survive. We find ways to make sense of the pain. You know, when you live with disabilities like Felicia and Frankie, you can't sit every day and feel sorry for yourself. I mean, it's easy to do, but it'll also destroy you. And it's not living. I mean, that's just existing. I mean, who wants to just exist? I was angry for a really long time and I was lost. And honestly, I still am sometimes. You know I have a purpose because I'm still here. I just don't really know what it is anymore. So instead of drowning in all of that, I pour my love into things that give life back to me. Gardening in the summers, beautiful and bounty of food. My family, my kids, my grandbabies, my dad, my grandma, my brothers, my in-laws, my friends, my aunts, my uncles, the people that are here, the people that show up. Those people, that family. And it's wild because 2025 literally flew by in a blur. Did you see that little, it's kind of like flash. Yeah, it was that fast. My grandparents used to tell me all the time when I was younger that, when you get older, time speeds up and you lose a lot of it and it just, flies by. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I used to laugh because I'm like, all right, that's crazy. But you know what? They were not wrong. They were not wrong at all. Time will rob you if you let it, because it's the one thing that you don't ever get back. When Felicia and Frankie were finally explained, emotionally I was a wreck long before I was diagnosed. Honestly, even before that probably. I thought I was losing my mind. I truly believed that surgery was going to fix everything because it did the first time. But this time, it didn't. What I didn't know then was that Frankie, psoriaticarthritis, had already been running wild in my body for a very long time. My rheumatologist later explained to me that Frankie had been more than likely had been running rampant in my body since I had cancer at 30. I'm 50 now. Frankie had years to quietly take over my whole body and destroy my joints and my bones and causing inflammation and just making it harder and harder for me to walk and to move and to be functioning. And then you throw in Felicia. Yeah, I mean, my rheumatologist told me that Felicia was already there. She had been lying dormant even before I knew her name. But after the last neck surgery, she woke up like Sleeping Beauty. Wow. The trauma from the surgery, though, was too much trauma in a small area in a small amount of time. Usually, when you have massive surgery, fusions like that, it's usually 10 years they recommend. Mine was 4.5, 5. So, anyway, yeah. So once the surgery had happened, she was wide awake and she was ready to go. So, I didn't know what was happening to my body for years. The pain, it came and went. The joints, they swelled, they stiffened. Shh, that's a tongue tire. Burned, morning, felt heavier than they should have. And I told myself I was just tired. I was just stressed. I was just, pushing myself way too hard. And stopping wasn't an option. You know what I mean? I had too much to do. And as time passed, the pain stopped being temporary. It stopped resetting. It stopped, feeling better after not being used. Rest, it didn't fix anything. It only paused it. My fingers didn't move the same. My knees ached before storms. Fatigue settled so deep I felt like it was living in my bones. I started planning my life around energy instead of time. And by the time years turned into decades, my body felt unpredictable and unsafe. I learned to measure everything that I did because if I didn't, my body would collect the debt later. There was grief in that. Grief for the body I used to have, grief for the ease that I didn't know was temporary. And all of this was happening while I was also surviving physical abuse. My body wasn't just fighting the illness, it was holding on to the trauma, and I had bruises layered over inflammation and fear along pain. And, you learn how to ignore signals and screaming and that something wasn't right. But the pain had already been so normal for me that I just didn't even realize it. I just had no clue. By the time 20 years in, my body carried a history. Frankie has left so much damage. Pain, it's no longer comes and goes. It just stays permanently. Strength wasn't pushing anymore. It was pacing and listening and surviving. And then fibro kicked in, and once she became a full force, she was a wrecking ball. Now, the pain, it's not just in my joints, it's freaking everywhere. My muscles burn. My skin feels like it's bruised even when nothing's touching it. Exhaustion becomes relentless. Sleep stops. So that doesn't even restore me anymore because I don't sleep. Brain fog stole words mid-sentence. My nervous system felt like it was constantly turned on high. Psoriaticarthritis has damaged and inflamed my whole body. My markers are still so high. Fibromyalgia has overwhelmed my whole nervous system, and trauma has taught my body to stay on high alert. Together, they created the perfect storm. It left my body in constant negotiation between pain, exhaustion, between fear and healing, between movement and rest. And some days, just existing takes everything I have. But I am still here. Holding it together, pain, partnership, and grace. My husband's healing nicely from his surgery, thank God. He's up and walking around and trying to do things he's not supposed to, which I expected, because he can't sit still to save his little booty. So yeah, it's been part of that battle, telling him, nope, don't do that, reminding him to protect his back. He listens eventually. He still has a lot of numbness in his leg, and the doctor told him that could be up to a year, so hopefully some of that will subside and make it a little nicer for him. But the most intense pain that he was having has eased up quite a bit. And his incision looks really good, and that in itself is a blessing. So I think, as time progresses, he's only 2 weeks out, so hopefully that will continue to do well and heal nicely for him. Meanwhile, though, my hips and lower back are on fire and on constant pain. Between overdue for my shot, Felicia and Frankie are completely acting up right now. Sleep has been so rough. It's just been bad. And my pain is really starting to climb. It's very high this week. So, anyway, I'm doing my best not to spiral. And I'm trying really hard to stay grounded. And we're just taking it one day at a time, one moment at a time. That's all I can do. He's healing, I'm managing, and right now, that is enough. I'm going to be happy with that, you know? And before y'all go, if you have made it this far, thank you, truly. Sharing this isn't easy. It takes guts, faith, and a whole lot of trust. And you guys stayed. That matters. You guys matter. If something in this episode spoke to your heart, tap that like button and subscribe. I know it sounds so cliche, so YouTube housekeeping, but believe it or not, it actually does help this space reach others that are living with fibro PSA or any other chronic illness. So think who they're walking on this alone? They're not. There is a crew. There are people here. Take a look on either side of your screen. You'll find more videos there, different days, different lessons, same real life, same messy, grace-filled journey. This is Living with Fibro. This is PSA. This is Felicia and Frankie's Way. Real life, real faith, real conversations. Thanks, guys, for being here. Thank you for being here with us in this mess with me, and being here with me, and your patience as I'm trying to get over this yuck. But I will see you guys next time. And the week's verse is, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and gives you peace. Numbers 6:24 through 26. You guys have a God-blessed week.